Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Vincent Kayanja, DPO Buyukwe, and a board member representing local governments.
Good morning, I'm Patrick Okware, District Production Officer Tororo, and OFAS member. Thank you.
I'm Wally Christopher Magala. First, I'm a farmer. I have a Arwana Natural Farm, which is an agroecological farm. I belong to Slow Food. That is it, and a member of WOFAS. Mokono.
I'm Lydia Dongo, WOFAS member, and I work for WOFAS. I'm based in Soroto GPSI project, master trainer.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Munyole Andrew, member of WOFAS, but also master trainer for Buyukwe District.
Good morning. Jingo Joseph Nkumbi, Rural Advisory Services Provider under WOFAS GPSI project based in Buyukwe. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I am Kumba Ashraf. I am a capacity building facilitator. I'm working with agriculture, environment, and livelihoods.
Hello, I'm Dr. Flavia Kavere. I'm a research scientist in agriculture and seed sector, but I'm working as an independent consultant.
All right, a bit of energy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Waiswa Nicholas, under WOFAS GPSI project. I'm a rural advisory service facilitator. Thank you, in Buyukwe District.
Good morning. Vincent Andima is my name, a RAS facilitator from Buyukwe District. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ismakula Yasin, RAS facilitator from Buyukwe District, and also agriculture extension worker in Ngogwe Sub-County, Buyukwe District Local Government.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kayondo James, a RAS facilitator, Buyukwe District, and I'm also an agriculture officer.
I'm really impressed by the people on ground. Oftentimes, we are criticized that, oh, okay, the real farmers, the real implementers don't come to the boardrooms. This conference seems to be different. They are here.
Good morning, good people.
Morning.
My name is Immaculate Akelo. I work for Kerry Naturals. We do value addition to shea butter to produce skin and hair products. We are based in Lira, but we work with farmers in Otuke district. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jared Kasita. I'm the master trainer for Sembabuli. WOFAS.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Namaz Annette, Agriculture Officer, Sembabule District Local Government, and RAS Facilitator.
Good morning, everyone. I'm by the names of Mutebi Faizo, the Senior Agriculture Engineer Bujiri, and currently the Acting District Production Officer.
Most welcome. I'm hearing a lot of Eastern. I'm hoping we shall also get to hear the other regions.
Yeah, my name is Geoffrey Oba. I work for GIS Promoting Rural Development Program in Northern Uganda as a technical lead for agriculture and climate resilience. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tadeo Ajuna, and I'm the Global Programs Coordinator at WIPAD.
And what is WIPAD, if somebody wanted to know?
Thank you. YPAD is Young Professionals for Agricultural Development. So we are a global entity of youth, young people in agriculture.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ochen Umar Bashir. I work as an ERA under the GP SAEP project. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard Onyango, Partnerships Coordinator at Trees for the Future. We are based in Bali. Thank you.
Okay. At where? Which organization? Trees for the Future. Oh, interesting.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Ezra Masaleki. Entrepreneurs for Access Coach and Access Agriculture.
Good morning, everyone. Oyad Richard is my name. I work for DADO. We are based in Karamoja and also a UFAS member. Thank you.
Okay, so Karamoja is represented. Thank you for coming.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Arfan Baji, and I work at Reforum, and of course I have a number of people I've come with, and some of them will be coming, so.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Joab Tugume, student at Makerere University and a member of UFAS. Thank you so much.
Okay, so students are also members of UFAS. Maybe we need to find out who is not a member and how they can become a member. And don't leave before you become an UFAS member. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trevor Happy. I'm a student at Makerere University doing extension, agriculture and rural extension in my final year.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Acham Helen Kete Lungat. I'm the Executive Director, Northeast Chili Producers Association. We work in Karamoja, Teso, Lango, Acholi, and West Nile. I'm also one of the first founding members of UFAS from the onset. I'm happy to be here. And currently, we're also working with the GIZ under the partnership under private sector activities. Thank you.
Good morning, members. Asao John Francis is my name. I'm a RAS facilitator for GP SAEP Soroti District.
Ejuku David Ambrose, Rural Advisory Service Facilitator, Soroti District.
Bua Sam Newman is my name, Rural Advisory Service Facilitator, Lera District. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hamir Okao. I work as a Rural Advisory Service Facilitator under GP SAEP project. I come from Lera. I'm also a UFAS member. Thank you.
All right, we're going to stop there. We have our guest of honor in the room, so we can start, but we'll also have another round of introductions. But in the meantime, a huge round of applause for the people that have introduced themselves. And to also say that we'll come back to the back end of the room a little bit later during the day. Again, would like to welcome you to the Extension Week. It's going to run from Monday to Friday. And before we go into the actual events on the program that is sitting right in front of you, I'd like to go through the week so that we get an understanding of how we're going to the processes of work. If you could share the slides.
Okay. as we load the presentation, I didn't hear anyone from Kabale, Kisoro. Do we have anyone from Kisoro here? Kabale, southwestern Uganda.
District.
Which district is that? Rukunjiri. Okay. So which other region didn't I hear? West Nile. Do you have anyone from West Nile here? West Nile. Which district?
I'm from Arua City.
Arua City. Okay. I didn't hear anyone from the Sebei region. Sebei sub-region. Ajumani. Any sub-region of Sebei? Mount Elgon, that side?
I think Joshua, it's a little bit far, so they are on their way.
Oh, they are
Yes.
it's far.
So
It's
we
okay.
have 9 districts represented so far. We have Bukuya, Tororo, Mukono, Soroti, Buikwe, Sembabule, Bujiri, Karamoja, and Lira.
Arua City.
Arua City. So would like to, to congratulate you for taking this long trek to join us. I'd like to acknowledge that we have our guest of honor in the room. I won't ask him to introduce himself but because he has a session, but just to acknowledge that we have him in the room. Big round of applause for him. So as I said, before we go into the actual events that have brought us here, we need to understand how the flow of the 5 days will go. So as everyone is aware, this is the Uganda Agriculture Extension Week. And the theme that we have this year is unlocking Uganda's agricultural potential. Looking at how multi-actor agriculture, could we go back to the slide, please? Not too fast. Looking at how multi-actor agriculture extension and advisory services for resilient, digital and market-oriented food systems. So that's the theme that we're going to work around. So all the presentations, all the plenaries will be working towards this, either sharing learnings, best practices, or potentials around this theme. So as I said, we're going to have 5 days of this event. And on the first day, which is today, we'll have the official opening and plenaries, keynote speakers, and thematic overviews, as well as pictures from the exhibitors in the room. On the second day, we'll have parallel workshops and capacity building, looking at case stories, looking at skill sessions that will allow us to go away with improved capacities. On day 3, which is Wednesday, the 22nd of April, we'll have side events, we'll have panel discussions, and these will be organizationally led workshops, including professional panels from both international and national presenters. On day 4, which is pretty exciting, we'll have some field visits. We have 9 field trips that are planned, and we'll expect that by Wednesday, everyone will identify where they want to go and will register. We'll have field coordinators that will be in charge of that part of the journey. On day 5, we'll have an official closing, a communique, as well as awards and closing ceremony. On Wednesday, we also have a dinner in the evening, so I hope that you'll come ready for that as well. So today, we're going to have an arrival of our guest of honor, a VIP tour of the exhibitions. If they're ready, we'll have some teas and coffees as well as networking that will happen at 10. We'll also have our national anthems, prayers and introductions. We'll have a welcome remarks from our UFAS board chairperson. We'll have an extension overview from our UFAS CEO, Beatrice. We'll also have the National Agriculture Extension Systems highlight from Maïf, as well as some experience sharing from Madagascar. We'll have a few goodwill messages from World Vision and AGRA, a keynote address from the Director General from NARO, as well as Global and Continental Extension Networks, GIFRAS, and AFAS. We'll have remarks from our guest of honor after that, and then our, what we call vote of thanks, but we're calling here remarks from our UFAS patron, as well as the photo sessions in the morning. This is the morning session. After that, we will have an afternoon session where we'll have presentations from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. We'll have scalable and market-driven ES delivery. We'll have extension of high-value chains, resilient and climate-smart agriculture systems, professionalization of the agricultural workforce. And this will also include some partnership pitching from Access Agric, Easy Agric, NSSF, and whoever is going to be exhibiting once they're ready. We'll also have, at the end of the day, an AI for agriculture extension by Dr. Nasib Mugwanya from NARO. So that's today. It's pretty packed, so you're going to see us rushing through. Before I go to the second session, I was told by Joshua that we had to crack a few jokes. And I say to him, I don't know how to crack jokes, but I know how to make people laugh. Clearly, I don't. All right. So on the second day, we'll have presentations on scientific goggles from GIFRAS and agro-industrialization from MAIF. This is going to be a very good way for us to understand our geographical placing because it's on multiple rooms. Tomorrow we'll be able to tell you where you need to go, but you need to first express your interests. So these are the different halls that we're going to be in. We have Muyenga 1, Muyenga 2, Muyenga 3, which I will be this way, but as the facilitators, we'll be able to guide you. But please, when you look at your programs, understand what your interest is, and the subject matters and themes and sub-themes will be under this. So we'll have scalable market-driven, as I shared before, but here we'll have 4 paper case stories presentations, and we'll have moderators as well as rapporteurs. I won't go through that because I talked about it a little bit earlier. Day 3, we'll have the parallel side events that are organizational led. The organizations that are going to be leading on this will be GIZ, AFAS, UFAS, AGRA, PELAM, Farm Africa, and a few others as we go through. For the field visits, we will have a team going to Buikwe, a team going to Nakawa, one going to Chanja and Najera. We'll also go to Chituza. We'll go to Namlonge, Kawanda, Kirinyabigo. I think that's the dialect. Nache Sasa and Kajansi, Magere and Gayaza. So please, as we're moving towards, if you get a good understanding, you're able to map where you want to be early enough to be able to go to the field coordinators and say, this is what I'm interested in. That's why we're doing it in the first day. On day 5, we'll have a recap of the field days. We'll have tea breaks and exhibition as well as networking. We'll have a presentation of the communique by the chief rapporteur. We'll have the closing remarks and also an official closing from the guest of honor or from NARO, I think. No, World Vision. Sorry. And then a lunch break.
The end.
All right. The end. Thank you. So we'll have our guest of honor having his open. Oh. All right then. It's back. So our guest of honor is Honorable Frank K. Tumwebaze. Today he's going to be represented by our very own commissioner, Dr. Nakalet. We'll also have a keynote speaker from Dr. Yona Baguma, the Director General for NARO. We'll have another session of the technical, I think we'll combine the two, presentation from our own, from Dr. Henry Opolot Nakalet, who is the Commissioner of Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. The I was meant to be capital. And then we have also our presenters who are going to be working on opening remarks, updates, and we have Dr. Richard Miro, who is our board chairperson. We have Beatrice Luzobe, who is the CEO of UFAS. We have Miss Beatrice Biarugaba, UFAS patron. We have Dr. Lillian Lihasi, our executive director for AFAS, and then Dr. Carl Eric Larson, executive secretary, GIFRAS. Maybe they will stand up so that we see them, so that we know who's going to speak. Yes. For your day today, as I shared, we have facilitators, Monica, representing the MSP as well as Team Up. We have Elizabeth Asimwe, representing UFAS. We have Joshua Konya, representing Asoreka, but also facilitating this. We also have Connie, who is going to be represented by Joseph Oke, who had a bit of a mishap on his way, but he's coming in. Housekeeping. The toilets or the ladies are down that way. The rooms will be shared as we go. Let us keep our phones on silent and make sure that we have active participation. Having said that, would like to thank the sponsors of this event who are ably shown on here. We don't want to start without acknowledging their support. IFAD, AGRA, AFAS, the GIZ, World Vision, Ruforam, Maif, Kilimo, Naro, Centenary, Farm Africa. The eyes are not eyeing. But anyway, just to say that we acknowledge and we thank them for the sponsorship of this event. There's so many other people that have contributed to the event. Would like to thank them ahead of time. Joshua, you'd like to take over the...
Yeah, I think now, thank you very much, Monica, for walking us through the program. And we are all nearly, our chief guests are here. We recognize the arrival of Dr. Kasim Sadiq from NARO, representing the DG.
Yes.
Okay, so we would like to begin the day by putting our conference before God. I would like to request for a volunteer to give us an opening prayer. In case we have any reverend or pastor in the house, or sheikh. Any pastor in the house? No. Any sheikh in the house? Oh, okay.
I think as you're going, we forgot to recognize the religious and cultural leaders in the room, so that would have helped us in this process.
Yeah. Any reverend in the house? No, Reverend. Okay.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Dear Lord, we do seek for your blessing, for your guidance during this extension week. We do seek for your blessing to bless the ideas we shall come with and enable us to implement for the betterment of our country, our continent, and the globe at large. Amen.
Thank you very much for that wonderful prayer. Would like now to have the Uganda anthem, if it's ready.
If we can all stand up in
Play it.
preparation for it. DJ, I always wanted to say DJ, play that bit. Huh? We're waiting on you. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. But we have a special person who shouldn't take their seat. I'd like to invite our board chair, Dr. Miro, to have a few welcoming remarks as our host. Yes. Long press.
Our chief guest, representing today the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, the Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, and represented here today by Dr. Henry Opolot Nakelet, the Commissioner of Agriculture Extension and Skills Management in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, the Executive Director of the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services, Dr. Carl Lassen, the Executive Director of the African Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services, Dr. Lilian Lihasi, AFA staff here present, the Director General of the National Agricultural Research Organization, Dr. Yona Baguma, represented here today by the Deputy Director General, Agricultural Technology Promotion in the National Agricultural Research Organization, Dr. Sadiq Kasim, senior government officials here present, the members, partners that have supported us, stood with us, heads of development partners, the patron of UFAS, the founder chairpersons of UFAS, and members of the UFAS board, members of academia, DPMOs, members of the private sector, civil society, our CEO, and our colleagues, all of you from agriculture and advisory systems, those from farmers' organizations, exhibitors, presenters, panelists, facilitators. I don't want to leave anyone behind, rapporteurs, members of the media, friends of the agriculture sector, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. It is my honor today as the chairperson of the Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services, UFAS, to welcome first of all our guest of honor and thank him so much for honoring this invitation and being with us here today. Can we give him a very powerful UFAS welcome? I would like again to welcome our global partner, Dr. Carl Lassen from GIFRAS, and also our ED AFAS. Let's also welcome them very strongly so they feel we love them and believe in them. A very warm welcome and indeed thrilled to have you all here for the 2026 Uganda National Culture Extension Week at Silver Springs Hotel Bugolobi. Personally, I'm very, very thrilled to see you all, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, who work very hard every day to support farmers out there in the countryside, but also in farming urban centers. We want to thank you so much and salute you from the bottom of our hearts. Let us celebrate all the farmer-facing extension officers in this room today with a big, mighty hand clap. Thank you so much. Our theme this time is Unlocking Uganda's Agricultural Potential, a multi-actor agriculture extension and advisory service that supports resilient, digitalized, market-oriented agri-food systems. This offers a strong message for us to find ways to move away from working in silos to working respectfully together. This is why today I want to announce that UFAS has joined and partnered with our very own National Cultural Research Organization, and we have agreed to work together to ensure that we can enhance the uptake of our cultural technologies, innovations, and management practices, including through the use of multi-stakeholder platforms. I take this opportunity to thank the NARO leadership, especially the DG and the DDG ATP, for this great partnership. Please especially allow me to celebrate Dr. Sadiq Kasim, who is a distinguished member of UFAS and has played a very great role to connect UFAS with NARO. Now, before I continue, who is UFAS? It's actually you who is in the room. So NARO has chosen to connect with you and to co-create with you ways in which we can enhance the uptake of our cultural technologies, which our government invests in and supports NARO to conduct. So please be ready when we come together with NARO to see how we can deepen what you do out there with farmers, to make our NARO technologies appreciated and uptaken by the farmers. We gather at a decisive moment when Uganda has set for itself a tenfold growth program and has earmarked agriculture, tourism, and minerals as key sectors for this growth strategy. With agriculture at the front and agro-industrialization as the key driver, Uganda's farmers, agribusinesses, and the service providers have a new bar to climb. At the same time, the persistent shocks and disruptions such as climate variability, emerging pests and diseases, market volatility, economic upheavals, global conflicts, and rapid technology change complicate how we are going to achieve the tenfold growth strategy. But also, it's a time of opportunities where digital tools that can reach the last mile, the growing private sector role in agriculture, the youth who are present with us here, and I want to celebrate my students. Please stand up and we celebrate you who are here today. Could you please applaud them? They represent very many youth who are in this room, who we see as a great, great opportunity for the future and are ready to be leveraged by all of us to make a difference in this sector. So therefore, this week offers all of us an opportunity to listen, to learn, to share models of AES, that is our culture extension and advisory services, that can offer success. I know and I'm confident that in this room, all of you have tried out many unique models that are connecting farmers to the market. And my personal key question is, how does extension look like when the markets are assured? It's different from extension where the extension we've been doing sometimes. But when markets are assured and standards are required and food safety is important, how do you manage those extension workers? So we are here today because all of us have been challenged by government to look to commercialization through even the PDM uplifting the poor. We want to learn from each other. How do we make this happen and make agriculture a paying vocation and undertaking for our farmers? So for the next 5 days, we'll be sharing evidence and examples of what works in these areas. We have the opportunity also to focus on aquaculture, apiculture, which is beekeeping. We also have the opportunity to uplift our very livestock extension systems. Not that we not focus on them, but sometimes we uplift crops so much and we forget that livestock is a key contributor to agriculture and livelihoods, and therefore we need to appreciate the extension models that are supporting its success. I have just some messages here today that I would like to encourage you to be open to during this week. First of all, collaboration. And I know that means a lot of sacrifice for each of us because we are used to working alone. We are used to doing things comfortably in our own discipline, but this requires us to open up. And I want to encourage you to be ready for that sacrifice, to be disturbed by a partner who needs to work with you to make a difference. Not only one partner, more than one multi-actor. Secondly, also to point out that, of course, we know that extension these days is also beyond what government is doing, involves a lot of private sector players. We have in this week young people supported by Reform called Innovation Transfer Partners. Can you stand up? They're doing a great job in private sector extension. Let me ask Dr. Fang at least to stand up to represent them. He's from Reform, and we are making big strides with the Reform to make sure they inspire us. How can young people start businesses? Well, with that, I also want to acknowledge that the agro dealers are playing a very, very big role now in extension. But the only challenge is that they are not fully capacitated. So that invites us again during this meeting to think through, learn together how we can support them. The other point is about professionalization, how we can do our work ethically. In fact, I was thinking this morning, even as we are here in this room, how can we serve objectively, meaning well, when we are serving the farmer? Professionalism, accreditation. I look forward to a day through the ministry, of course, and our great partner and officer, Dr. Henry Nakalet, with your support, when extension among all of us is regulated, is certified, is standardized, but also recognized and rewarded, because these are the people who are supporting farmers to make a difference. No one can live without advice, including His Excellency has so many advisors. Those are his extension workers. Can we applaud them in absentia? Therefore, we need to see this landscape of ours regulated. Finally, digitalization has to be leveraged. And I'm glad to tell you that we've organized specific trainings, including one on AI, where we all must be confident here today on how to leverage AI to ease what we do. I want to reiterate UFAS's commitment to strengthening our collective value as agriculture extension service providers, professionals, and practitioners. Also, we are committed with my board members to offer you much needed membership services. We are also committed to make sure that we have visibility with government and that we can advocate for policies that support what you do. I want to speak to the partners and private sector here today to thank you for what you are doing, to encourage you to continue to support this space, to our government, to ask you during this time to offer us more supportive policies, to the researchers and universities here today to think through ways in which we can build the future generation, to the farmer leaders to continue to do your great work. I urge every delegate here to turn out and share your insights with an open heart, not selfishly, not reservedly, and also what you shall come up with as a communique that will follow through. We usually have an end of week communique, commitments, and this time we are going to be sure we follow through with them. Ladies and gentlemen, our program is very rich, it is diverse, it is designed with you in mind. Not only presentations of research, but cases of what works, including capacity building and field visits. So allow me finally to thank all of you who have financed yourselves to come to this meeting. I've seen people pay up money there up front. Please let's celebrate you all, including the supporting organizations, with a big hand clap. We truly thank you for valuing agriculture extension as a profession and as a vocation. I want to appreciate GIFRAS and AFAS for their mentorship, financial support, and hunting with us, hunting resources. And when those resources come to UFAS, it is not UFAS who does the work. We partner with you who are farmer-facing to do the work. Please allow me also to thank the Technical Organizing Committee led by our CEO. Please stand up and shine one more time. That is Madame Beatrice Luzobe, and also the chairperson of the Technical Working Committee. Please, Madame Tambula, stand up and shine like a powerful star. Those are the people who have organized all of this. I want to thank our facilitators, all the members of these committees, our UFAS board. Please, board members, stand up for a big, punchy celebration of who you are to this board. Thank you. Those are the people. I'm sure we'll have a chance, a powerful group photo, but also to see each other. Finally, thank you so much, all of you, for dedicating yourselves to AES. And I wish you fruitful networking, learning, sharing. Thank you so much. Those of you who have brought your exhibitions to share with us, we really, truly thank you. And may God bless you all. Bless our farmers, bless our country, for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miro. Something that stood out for me in that welcome remark is that
and come up here.
Yes,
Come
we
up.
are
Come up
UFAS.
here.
Everyone here is an extension, an advisory colleague. Another bit that stood out is the fact that we cannot work in silos and we have to work collectively. That's so important because it's in the sum of the work that we do that we can actually have sustained impact. So I want that to be the information that we take away, that we network, we understand who is who in the room, and we understand their value to the work that we do. So us as extensions would like to invite Beatrice, our CEO, the UFAS CEO, to give us a brief overview of extension and this extension week, and also to give us highlights from what has happened across the regions as we moved into this week. Please, presentation ready for her.
Okay, I would like to stand on the protocols which have been established by my chair. And I want really to welcome all of us. You are all welcome because if you didn't come, it will be like that Bible story where someone prepared a feast and nobody came. We didn't want to go to the street to look for people to come and attend. So you are all in your categories as you are introducing yourselves, and as you introduce, you are all very, very welcome. I'm just here for a simple task. That is just to say what is this extension week. And so it's just a brief overview of the extension week. And before that, what I want to say that this is not something which is happening this year. It is something which we've been doing. It's we are almost like saying this is a culture now of UFAS as we bring together, because what I failed to know that I'll not go into the details of what is UFAS. On your desks, everybody has, I think, our profile to know what is UFAS, for those ones who are knowing it for the first time. And we've been actually, one of the big things we've been doing, bring together the actors in agriculture extension and advisory services. We've been organizing together with the partners, including the ministry, organizing these events, extension events. And you can see that we started with the conferences up to 2020, from 2013 to 2016, sorry, 13 to 16, we had conferences. This used to be 1 to 2 days, and then we moved on to symposia. We had a symposia 3 days, and these were up to 2020. 2020 is like almost, it was kind of like the turnaround during the COVID, when we had the e-symposium, which ran for a week, and it was attended. We had the biggest number of people attending from online and from here and outside the country. I think people just wanted to share, they were looking out for the opportunity. So that is a symposium. We had over 1,000, participants. And then after that, that's when people said, why don't we have an extension week and also fit in what the AFAS and the GIFRAS does? So we started the extension week 2021 with the All Africa Extension Week. And we said that was also us, because when it is in a country, it is when a continental extension week is in the country, then the country fora is in charge of organizing together with the line ministry. And we want to say we really got support for that. Then 2023, 2020, and 2024, okay? And now we have the extension week, which is 2026, which was supposed to be in 2025, but we postponed it for genuine reasons. What I would say that what is the value proposition of these, different extension weeks? One we see as an opportunity for knowledge sharing. There's a lot of information which is shared during these events. Opportunity for networking. I've seen so many people who network. Even there, I was seeing someone saying, oh, you are lost. Someone from Ajumana and is greeting someone who is from Bujiri or from the West and saying, oh, what is happening? So that is another thing. Then the capacity building. There's a lot of capacity building. People learn a lot in these events. The policy influence, we always make sure that we have policy issues, policy recommendations coming out of these meetings. Even for this one, as they have already mentioned, it's going to be the same. And then, of course, market-oriented solutions. And for this one, we are actually looking out for that. Coming to the extension week, this yeah, they have already mentioned and you have already read and you have received. The theme is Unlocking Uganda's Agricultural Potential, Multi-Actor Agriculture Extension and Advisory Services for Resilient, Digital and Market-Oriented. Those three, the digitalization, the resilience, and the market orientation, we expect it to cut across whatever is going to be discussed. And we have the four sub-themes. One is, the sub-theme one is scalable and market-driven ES delivery and business models. There are many models which extension people are using to reach farmers. Some of them are just delivery models, others are actually business delivery model, business extension models. The second one is extension for sustainable high value chains, coffee, horticulture, livestock, aquaculture, entomculture, and so on. And there are many of them. Actually, one which is going to come up in this one is the Hass avocado. Okay, and then the third one is resilient and climate smart agriculture systems and practices. Then professionalization of agricultural workforce. Those are the sub-themes where everything is going to be lined on. The main purpose of this event is to deliberate on the critical issues that affect extension services, to align and operate within the multi-sector coalitions so that we can support a dynamic, inclusive, resilient, market-oriented, agro-industry-driven agriculture sector. We have the expected outputs. We expect a compilation of scalable AES models and innovations, an outline of the key factors, best practices, strategies, and recommendations, documented case studies, innovations. A number of case stories are going to be presented. In extension, we actually, when our friend, the scientists and the academia, they mostly present papers, but we realize that extension workers, much as they may not write papers, they have case stories, they have stories to tell. And those stories to tell, the success stories, they actually go far in creating learning and sharing among the extension workers and the farmers. And then we also, the strategies to enhance the countrywide professionalization, accountability, networking, and information sharing. We also have, we are kind of like forecasting what is expected outcomes, increased adoption and scaling of these successful models when they are presented, strengthened capacity among, because we said capacity building is one of those value proposition, strengthened AES and strategic partnerships. We expect that here people are going to discuss, and we've seen actually many partnerships come out of this for us as WOFAS and also for the other people. The AES positioned as a key player in strengthened coalitions, strengthened market-oriented food systems, and professional individuals and organizations within the EAS. So we think that our capacity, our professional abilities and all that are going to be increased. Methodology, I've just summarized, I think those who read the, we had actually mobilization, we mobilized a lot, different actors and partners. We had physical engagement, we had social platform engagements, messages and letters sent to the different people, the different actors here. We also had pre-events, the pre-events, 5 workshops at the regional level, and then the TV talk show. We had a TV talk show. I don't know how many people listen to the TV, to our people, you know, someone from World Vision, WOFAS, and WOFAS when they were on the TV. Thank you very much, World Vision, for enabling this. And then for this national conference, there are going to be, as I've already said, presentations and of papers and case stories, panel discussion and dialogues, field visa, they have said, and the communique and policy briefs. There is a team which is dedicated specifically for gathering policy issues, and by the end of the 5 days, we will have a policy brief. Okay, so we have our team somewhere there which is going to be doing that. I want to say, to again thank the partners who have actually supported this. And you know, every year we have different partners who come up and support. We have those ones who are constant, but there are those ones also who come in and they really support us. Thank you very much. On what came out of the field, we are working with my colleague, Ruth. Ruth has been a bit okay, but she's finalizing and we'll get a space to present what came out of the field pre-events. We had 5 pre-events. We had a pre-event in Soroti, and that one took advantage of the National Agriculture Show there. We had a symposium in a whole afternoon. Thank you very much. I don't know whether the organizers are here of that. We also had one in the Rwenzori. Oh, where are the REFAS people? We are almost launching the REFAS, and then we said we need to be ready. MMU, where are you? And then the other, because there are 10, I think there were 10 organizations in there. And then we had 3 last ones in the north, and that is in Adjumani, in Lira, and Guru. And this one we want to thank GIZ. Thank you very much for supporting this. Thank you for listening to me.
I would expect a bigger hand clap. Thank you so much. And also our chair board, a bigger hand clap for him, because we also, yes. The regional events. I think this week has been very unique in the fact that they had a build-up. And it's very important that we acknowledge the importance of extension extended. Not a discussion in a room here, but something that starts from where the actual extension happens. So I'd like to congratulate the UFAS team and all the partners that have done that, to thank them, and also maybe expect later as the conversations go, people asking questions. What was discussed? What were the recommendations? How do we integrate them and bring them forward into the national decision making? So it's very critical and very important that we keep in mind that there were regional discussions and we need to bring them forth. I would like, in a special way, to invite our Assistant Commissioner, Dr. Patience. Who is going to share some highlights from the National Agriculture Extension System on AES on behalf of MAIF. Do you have a representation or? A big round of applause for him. All right.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture and Monetary and Fisheries, and on my own behalf, first of all, I wish to welcome you all to this very important event in the professions of agriculture extension. And also to thank the Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services for spearheading the organization of this event. Well, I have been tasked to provide some highlights on agriculture extension, particularly on the professionalization of agriculture workforce. I did not prepare the PowerPoint, but probably I wish to first take you some historical milestones on how we have arrived today. And we adopted the National Agriculture Extension Policy in 2016. And in that policy, it adopted ruralism. In other words, the delivery of agriculture extension services no longer a monopoly of public system. But the policy did put the public extension system at the core. And that's why it was called the Single Spain Agriculture Extension Service, meaning that while all other actors were enabled to provide services, they had to be coordinated. And that coordination had to be provided by the public extension system. So, it is therefore my hope that as we move ahead, we have had a lot of challenges. We set up 4 milestones at the beginning. One was put in place an effective policy environment. The second was to establish an efficient delivery system. The third was to put in place a very well coordinated documentation of the content. And the fourth was strengthening the farm organizations. Those were the first 4 milestones that we agreed upon at the beginning. But for now, I'm only going to emphasize the professionalization part of it. Because professionalization is not only about the workforce, but also about even the farmers. So it is both an honor and a responsibility to speak on the subject that sits at the very heart of agriculture extension transformation, the professionalization of the agricultural workforce, particularly within our agriculture extension and delivery services, advisory services. Agriculture remains the backbone of our economy, the livelihood of millions, and the engine through which we must drive inclusive growth, food security, and resilience. Yet the systems that support our farmers, especially extension services, are being asked to do more than ever before. Today's agriculture is no longer just about production. It is about markets, climate resilience, digital innovation, nutrition, and sustainability. It is about connecting farmers to opportunities, information, and systems that are increasingly complex. So it is evolving landscape. In this evolving landscape, one truth stands out clearly. We cannot transform agriculture without transforming the people who serve it. So over the years, Uganda's agriculture extension and advisory services landscape has expanded in scope, but not always in structure or coherence. We have seen fragmented and poorly coordinated service delivery, weak linkages between training institutions and employers, limited investment in human resource development, inadequate career progression pathways, and the absence of formal certification and regulation. So the result is a workforce that is often under-supported, under-recognized, and at times under-prepared to meet the demands of modern agriculture. This is not a failure of individuals, it is a failure of systems. And it is precisely why professionalization is no longer optional, it is urgent. You know, it defeats my understanding when we look at other professionals very well organized. Last week I attended an annual conference of the organized by Institute of Internal Auditors. It was at Serena. And you see the level of professional organization. And I started reflecting as to why agriculture cannot organize itself like this. The agricultural professionals. When you look at the population of internal auditors, how many do we have in the country? But look at the agricultural professionals, and we are unable to organize ourselves. And this is a task that we must really take on. I have talked about it, but I think in the past, but I think we need to collectively put our heads together and see how we drive the professionalization of agriculture. We had included these issues in the National Agriculture Extension Bill 2017, which unfortunately has not yet, to date, has not yet gone to Parliament. And therefore, it is our responsibility to see how we lobby now that we are having a new government that is coming next month. We need to position ourselves and how we get the National Agriculture Extension Bill back on track. Now, what do we mean by professionalization? Professionalization means recognizing agriculture extension not as an auxiliary function, but as a distinct, respected, and regulated profession. It means building a system where competence-based training defines entry and progression. Ethical standards guide service delivery. Certification and licensing ensure quality and accountability. Continuous professional development keeps practitioners relevant. And a clear career pathways attract and retain talent. These are very key issues that has to be considered as we think about how to professionalize our services. It also means creating strong functional linkages between universities, regulatory bodies, employers, and practitioners, so that what is taught aligns with what is needed. If you observe, agriculture extension is a bridging institution that is supposed to bring all these other actors together and drive transformation in the agricultural innovation system. In practice, we don't have a functional agriculture innovation system because these actors are operating in silos. The universities are not well linked to farmers. They're not well linked to policy. The research they do is not contributing to the transformation agenda. And therefore, we need to realign ourselves and ensure that research that is done at universities and other agricultural institutions is aligned to the needs of the farmers. And that is the only way we shall be able to cause the transformation that is desired. But above all, professionalization must be inclusive. Women, youth, and marginalized groups must not only participate, they must lead. So why does this matter now? Uganda stands at a critical juncture. We are pursuing a future of market-oriented, climate-resilient, and digitized agri-food systems. But such a future requires a workforce that is technically competent, that is digitally literate, entrepreneurial in mindset, ethically grounded, and capable of coordinating across multiple actors. So extension workers today are not just advisors. They are facilitators of innovation, brokers of knowledge, and connectors within value chains. So if we fail to professionalize this workforce, we risk slowing down the very transformation we are seeking. So what should be our strategic priorities for professionalization? Number one is strengthening institutional and policy frameworks. We must establish clear national systems for certification, licensing, and regulation of extension practitioners. This includes defining standards, enforcing accountability, and ensuring consistency across public and private providers. Number two is investing in human resource capital development. A coordinated human resource development strategy is essential. This includes aligning curricula with industry needs, promoting continuous learning, and ensuring that training institutions produce graduates who are job ready. Actually, the Ministry of Agriculture currently is working with the Mountains of the Moon University. And we have developed and conceptualized what we are calling back to farmers. That universities must go back to farmers and leave this ivory tower mentality. And we are working together to see how we can establish a framework in which the university is producing practically oriented graduates. And we are working with farmers and to see to increase the internship, so that we are crediting some farms to be used as placement farms, and students must spend at least 6 months working on the farms. And therefore, as a ministry, once we have, I think we want to get at least 350 farms, so that we are able, as placement farms, so as students are able to go and spend at least 6 months on these farms, work practical, so that by the time they are finishing, they are really ready for the job. So investing in human capital development is very key. The third area is enhancing attractiveness of the profession. We must reposition agriculture extension advisory services as a viable and rewarding career path, especially for young people. This means improving incentives, creating visibility, and offering real opportunities for growth and leadership. Now, to do this, what is the role of partnerships? No single institution can achieve this transformation alone. Universities must design responsive and forward-looking curricula. Professional bodies must uphold standards and ethics. Government must provide policy direction and regulatory frameworks. The private sector must invest and innovate. And development partners must continue to support capacity building and system strengthening. So together, we must build a coherent ecosystem that nurtures professionalism. And what do you expect out of this? So as we engage in this event, we expect more than dialogue, we expect action. We aim to contribute to a comprehensive communique that will inform national policy and guide the scaling up of multi-actor agriculture extension and various service systems. Specifically, we envision from this engagement practical strategies to enhance professionalism, accountability, networking, and knowledge sharing. Scalable models and innovations across agricultural value chains. Evidence-based approaches for resilient and climate-smart extension. And actionable recommendations to strengthen livestock, fisheries, apiculture, and crop advisory systems. And the outcomes we seek are also equally ambitious. One is a strengthened policy framework that regulates and elevates agriculture extension advisory services. Increase the adoption of proven extension models. We have these models that we have evolved over all this period of time, but the effort to get them work in the field is still limited. And therefore, we need to find ways of increasing adoption of these proven extension models, both locally here and globally. The models exist. They are known to have caused transformation elsewhere. Why not cause them here? We need a stronger partnership with academia and research institutions. These partnerships are really weak. It must go into our DNA that we must have partnerships, we must work, and if a professor is trying to design a research program must know that he must work with some person in the Ministry of Agriculture, some person in the local government, some person in a narrow, so that you enhance, so that when you bring the actors on board as you're doing your research, you increase the probability of adoption, uptake of the research results. And therefore, all of us, even me, as I'm developing the policy, I must know that these actors must make a contribution. So if all of us are able to do that collective thinking, it is possible. And all the ingredients to cause transformation in this country exist. It is this coordination element. When we are not coordinated, we can't even influence policy. You must build a critical mass that attracts political attention. Because you know policy processes are political processes. And therefore we must build and look at the political economy and see how we resonate well with it in order to influence and get what we want. And ultimately, a more responsive, market-oriented agri-food system. But perhaps, most importantly, we seek to see a professional, respected, and empowered agricultural workforce. That's what we should seek, all of us, to realize. So, ladies and gentlemen, professionalization is not just about systems, it's about people. It's about dignity in work. It's about trust in service delivery. It's about ensuring that every farmer, regardless of location or status, has access to quality, reliable, and timely advisory services. And therefore, today we must commit ourselves to invest in our extension workforce, build systems that recognize and reward excellence, create opportunities for youth and women, and uphold the highest standards of professionalism and ethics. Because when we professionalize our agricultural workforce, we do more than improve services. We unlock the full potential of Uganda's agriculture. I therefore conclude by thanking you for giving me this attention, giving me the opportunity to come and deliver this presentation. Thank you very much.
A bigger round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Patience. Some of the things that he talked about are so critical. Coordinated collaboration. You know, they're saying we're going to collaborate, but not understanding the coordination of it, that always becomes the handicap that we carry along in rooms. He's also talked about ensuring that we have structure and coherence in the processes that we have, as well as professionalizing agriculture. With 70% of our population in the agricultural substream, it's critical that there's coherence, because the productivity that is in agriculture is boundless, and the opportunities for the country, if we harness the agricultural potential, is critical. I would also like to go a bit into the understanding of extension and advisory, but we'll unpack it as we go into the panel discussions later in the afternoon. But keep that in mind. What is extension? What is advisory? You know? And then we go back to what we always talk about, intellectual humility, in understanding that not one source has all the information. And therefore, the pool of information needs to be a little bit more humble in understanding what the other person can bring to the table. And it's that intellectual humility that becomes critical to actually increasing our coherence and professionalizing the sectors that we work in. And in this case, this is agricultural. I'd like to invite our keynote address, Dr. Sadiq Kasim. You know, when I was writing, I wrote it with a K and I was told, with a Q, and I was told, no, it's a K. So I'd like to invite him to have a keynote speak, which is looking at unlocking Uganda's agricultural potential, multi-actor agriculture extension advisory services. And here we'll have the, in place of Dr. Yona Baguma, we'll have Dr. Sadiq Kasim on behalf of NARO. You're welcome.
The representative of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, the leadership of UFAS, the leadership of AFAS, the leadership of the Global Forum for Rural Agricultural Advisory Services, all distinguished partners, private sector, academia, all different categories of agricultural extension advisory service practitioners, the farmer organizations, the youth, the media, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Sadiq Kasim. I'm representing Dr. Yona Baguma, who is the Director General of NARO. But before I deliver of what is expected from NARO, I want to make a few comments as a member of OFAS. I want to make a few comments as a member of OFAS. Why I'm very, very passionate about extension. Why I'm very, very passionate about extension. In fact, many people thought that I specialize in extension when in the university. No, I'm a plant breeder. I did plant breeding and biotechnology. But I'm very, very passionate about extension. One, why I was very passionate about, or I've been very passionate about extension is that when I was at my secondary level, one time I dropped off from school because of fees problem. So what I did at that time was that when my father would be going to their farmers group, I would follow him. Then that's how the opportunity came for me to go back to school. So at one time, an extension worker from Lutheran World Federation came to train our farmers, and then I was translating. And then he told the farmers at the end of the training that they would be having a workshop. And in that workshop, they would prefer a farmer representative to come back and train the farmers. And the farmers unanimously agreed that me, who was helping to translate, I go. So I went. And there, God blessed me with the knowledge. I became one of the distinguished participants. And among the many extension workers, I was told that I should not go and only support the farmers in that smaller group of mine, but I should support the farmers across the sub-county. I was given a bicycle. Now, I could not use that bicycle because I knew at one time I was to go to school. I was using the old bicycle of my father. After 1 year, we went back for a workshop like that. People appreciated my report, but there was uproar everywhere that this is child labor. And they asked my opinion whether I would go back to school. I said, yes, my problem was fees. So if I was allowed to sell the bicycle, I would go back to school. They said, okay, you can sell the bicycle. So I sold the bicycle, plus the little savings that took me back to school. So I felt I could pay back better to the communities through extension, actually, not through other ways. Not through other ways. So that's how my passion for extension developed. To the extent that one time, I was working with him actually at IITA. I was working an associate breeder for IITA. And my member of parliament, they didn't say, but then Honorable James Baba brought farmers all the way from Koboko to see technologies at Namulonge. That thing inspired me. I said, am I in the right place? Or I would have gone to support him to deliver for my farmers. So they did not know, for the second year, I didn't renew my contract with what? With the IITA. I decided to go to become a district nuts coordinator. When actually, economically, I was doing better at IITA, but I decided to go. Because I wanted to position myself to give back to the community that brought me back to school. So I went back. When I went back, I still gained that passion to deliver to my community. This lady Beatrice, I got to her. Beatrice, you may stand up now in this different way now. Yeah, this lady was working with the Sesekao Global 2000. And they were promoting a concept called one-stop center association approach. One-stop center under the Sesekao Global 2000. And surely, I passionately implemented their gospel. I passionately implemented. Do you know how I did it? And I wanted this now, our extension workers who are working in the government, to listen properly. To listen properly. I was actually trying to get the resources which are delivered through government, but to support the informal, I call it informal extension system. These people I call more of volunteers. I call groups like AFAS, OFAS, and the different extension groups that are not in government payroll. I consider them more or less like volunteers. Because really, as Patience has put it, the level of support to them is very, very minimal. But they are very passionate, they deliver. So my role in the government office was how would I access resources to support them? I came 6 months. I came 6 months when the salaries for a district NADS coordinator were accumulating. And you see, there's an element which is wrong. I'm a civil servant. There's some element which is sometimes wrong in us. We like the software spending. The software spending, per diems and that kind of thing. No, sometimes is not the one that can transform society. So as I was received in the district, many technical people thought I was going to create a lot of trips to the villages to familiarization and that kind of thing. But I had a different thought because I came when by then the former vice president was very passionate about rice. And I think many people should have known it. The former vice president, Bukenya, was very passionate about rice. And because of that, and also because of the effort which NADS had put on, there was a very bumper harvest in that region. But there was no single mill, so they would pound the rice. So now I said, this money which came through the salary of district NADS coordinator, which I had accumulated before I was recruited, I needed to use that money to put a small mill for the farmers, a small rice mill for the farmers. So I decided to write a concept. I know the civil servants so much, my colleagues. So I wrote that concept. I came to NADS Secretariat. There was no better agricultural delivery entity that was any better than NADS. But we betrayed NADS. It was me only maybe who used the NADS, and a few others that I know also, used the NADS to leverage on how we could support the communities. So I wrote to NADS Secretariat, I said, I have this money accumulated. I needed to use that money to put a small house and then put a small rice huller. Now, when I came, it used to be very strange because NADS was then focused more on advisory, without much of the hardware. Now, I always had also my favors. I thank God. By then, the executive director of NADS, Dr. Selim Nandi, decided to send Dr. Oriokot, who was by then the technical services manager, to go to Koboko to check whether my concept works. I want you to take what my colleagues have said here earlier about partnerships. And this lady was talking about also humility. These are tools for an extension worker. So at that time, my partners that I was to create was the resident district commissioner, the district chairperson, and the distinguished leadership of the district to be the one receiving Dr. Oriokot, so that that decision should be accepted. He should accept to allow us move to implement my concept. So they received Dr. Oriokot well, and Dr. Oriokot was well overwhelmed. But also I did my tricks, which are positive. I made the farmers in one sub-county collect all available rice in one store, so that Dr. Oriokot can appreciate that there's a problem here. How would you pound all this kind of rice? And exactly they did that. So Dr. Oriokot was overwhelmed. He could not pronounce yes, but he was visibly in the positive thinking. Before he would communicate back, everybody knew that I should go and proceed with the concept because my boss was very positive. So I started implementing that. So when Beatrice came, it gave me another energy that I was now able to write another proposal still to attract money from government, from NUSAF now, Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, to implement the one-stop center. And what now I did, another group that was implementing extension workers informally are the people they call the District Farmers Association, which used to be supported under DANIDA, and there are also more of volunteers. So I said, no, instead of creating a parallel body to come and manage the one-stop center, I should bring them to be there, to settle there. And we use the government resources. We use the government resources to use that other informal arm. You see, why that informal arm? Persons did not come out clearly on one thing, but I know the commissioner extension will come out. The farmer extension ratio. The farmer extension ratio, when measured with the public extension workers, is overwhelming. One extension worker covering how many farmers is overwhelming. So the only way we can do is to leverage in these groups that are more of volunteers, such as OFA, such as the District Farmers Association, such as the youth, whatever groups, that we need to leverage on them to bridge that gap. So that was what I was doing. And so my passion for extension came from there. But there was again one element which continued to be wrong. Whereas extension is underfunded, undersupported, even the one of public, the expectation of the society is over too much. Actually, any poverty in the community is associated with weak extension services. You see, you want to milk a cow that you have not fed well. You want to milk a cow that you have not fed well. So those blames came. So I said, oh, maybe to prove that I also work, let me come back to the university and do a PhD in plant breeding and biotechnology, and maybe go to research so that they would appreciate us. I would be appreciated at least once in a while. So as I came to research, because of also my background having as a work as a district nurse coordinator, then I now became now, as I am now, the Deputy Director General in charge of technology promotion. And again, I'm suffering. I'm one of the few Ugandans who enjoy my holidays. I'm always busy. But they will say, narrow technologies are not visible. Narrow technologies are not adopted. And now, therefore, you are doing nothing. And then I say, now, what is it? So, as the chair has said, I said, maybe, as I strengthen linkage with our public extension system, I should also strengthen linkage with OFAS. That's why we have signed a direct MOU. So I believe that really research alone cannot do. Extension alone cannot do. When we work together, we can have a synergy that can transform agriculture and the country. So let me summarize what I have put here. A few facts. NARO is an agent of MAIF. NARO is an agent of MAIF. There was a time now when I had left Abi, when I had left Koboko, and I was now at Abi as a director of research. And then I heard that my boss, who was the district production coordinator, was at the verge of being arrested just because of a mistake of a driver. Just because of a mistake of a driver. So I drove myself very fast. When I reached the police, I knocked. That you are where from? I say I'm from Maif. Because the only way I would get in is to say I'm from what? Maif. So I said I'm from Maif. So they allowed me in. And then that's when I decided to say, no, you see, NARO is an agent of MAIF. So I'm based at the regional level. You get it? I'm based at the regional level, and therefore I've represented the commissioner responsible. I've come to talk for my district production officer. And I told them, if you humiliate him by putting him in for a mistake, which is of the driver, then in future the farmers will not take him seriously. Now government will be paying him without the people listening to him, and that would be dangerous. So they did not go ahead. They did not go ahead. So, but I want you to know that for one purpose. Sometimes in many gatherings, they will say, Maif is absent, Naro is present. But Naro is an agent of Maif, but our role is to coordinate, oversee, and guide agricultural research in Uganda. The mission of Naro is to innovate for sustainable agricultural transformation, and Naro conducts research in all aspects of agriculture: crops, livestock, fish, forestry, and cross-cutting areas. Our goal is to enhance agricultural productivity, production, commercialization, and agro-industrialization through generating and promoting innovations, research technologies, products, and services. Now, why we should come really together? I want to give some 3 examples. Over time, Naro has generated 10 coffee wilt disease-resistant varieties, which can yield up to 3.9 tons per hectare, compared to the local ones, which can yield up to only 1.5 tons per hectare, with all the best attributes. But is this now what our farmers are getting? Our farmers are not getting. That gap between 1.5 and then 3.9 is very wide. Where is the bridge? Dr. Pearson said it, extension is the bridge. It is the extension that can enable the farmers to bridge that gap. Maize. Naro has already 45 widely adapted stress-resilient maize varieties, including hybrids, that can yield up to 8 to 10 tons per hectare, compared to only 3 tons per hectare, which I'm sure now what the farmer is getting. So research alone cannot transform the farmer. You can see that wide, from 8 to 10 to about 3. Naro again came with the drought-tolerant, high-yielding, and nutritious pasture varieties that can improve milk production, even from our local breeds, at least from producing 2 to 3 liters to at least producing up to 6 to 8 liters. But what is the scenario like currently? Is that the production? No, because there is that gap, and the extension is the bridge. So when you see critically, we had been having gaps, and I thank my colleague, we call them twin brothers, because he's an extension, I'm also passionate about extension. We call ourselves twin brothers, Persons. He says still there's some small gap in the research to extension farmer linkage to translate and bridge those gaps. And he has proposed ways of addressing them. There are also gaps in farmer market feedback gap. There's a gap in that feedback that comes from the farmer and market, that there's gap there. There is an information to action gap. So these 3 gaps are what exactly Dr. Persons is talking about, that we need to professionalize you, all of you who are here, who are passionate about extension. We need to professionalize you. But I want to emphasize, in addition to what he explained, professionalism, I want to demonstrate with evidences. Despite my own personal effort, of working as a district nurse coordinator. Why I was saying nurse was a good model was that it was actually giving money directly under the control of the district nurse coordinator. So it is up to you how you use this money with your colleagues in the department, but how you use it also with the farmer organizations and how you improve it. It is up to you. But despite all that, one time when FAO organized a meeting for streamlining HIV and AIDS in extension services, they took us by then to Entebbe. There are these people who are by then living with the HIV AIDS, and as part of the workshop, we were to meet them. When they saw us, when we were introduced as district nurse coordinators, unanimously they believed we are corrupt people. Unanimously they believed we are corrupt what? People. They saw us with that negative lens. With that negative lens. Two, I had been, and up to now actually, I've been a member of by then local NGO, local NGO in my place. So one time when we were also in a gathering of the local NGOs, when I introduced myself as a chairperson of the NGO, people were comfortable. But when I was demanded, what work were you doing? When I said I was a district nurse coordinator, they were like, how can a devil be among angels? So I faced those kind of challenges. I faced those kind, and it is real. It is real that time. NATS was an avenue where government gives money, not through the chief administrative officer, the district chairperson, but to we, the extension workers, to handle like this. Not all, but some people betrayed us. So when Patience is talking about professionalizing you people, whether the public, whether the private, take these 5 core parts of professionalism seriously. One core, that one you are good at, competence. Competence, you are competent. Most of you are very, very competent. That one he will achieve. The second one, reliability. Some of you are not reliable. Some of you are not what? You see, for the farmer, when you say, I will come tomorrow, and then tomorrow you don't come, and then even you put off your phone, or you begin dodging the calls, then you are not reliable enough. The next time, the farmer will not take you serious. So the second important core of professionalism is the reliability as an extension worker. The third core, which I'm sure also not all of you, although he will standardize it, accountability. First of all, whom are you accountable to? Whom are you accountable to? You see, I wanted you people not to separate two things. That when I'm in my office, in my office, the most person I'm accountable to is my boss, or even the minister who is now here represented. But then on Friday, as a Muslim, I'm accountable to God. No. Each day you live, you are directly accountable to God. Each day you live, you are directly accountable to who? So when you are behaving in society as an extension worker, you see why I'm talking to you is that for you, you deal with the most vulnerable part of the community. The most vulnerable part of the community. So unless you implant in you that you are every day accounting directly to God, you cannot lie to the farmer that you are sick when actually you are just walking, because it's only God who is seeing. Your other boss is lied or easily, you cannot see. You can imagine this. So that word accountability, account for everything. But by the way, we will be accounting before God. We will be accounting. We will be accounting for many things. For the wisdom God gave you, all of you got diplomas, degrees, and what? You will account for that wisdom. Government and the NGOs give you money. not for you, for serving mankind. Before God, you will account. Actually, if you're a public servant, you think that the money of government is the money of government you are spending. That money was given to you by God. It is God who has positioned you as a commissioner, as a minister, as a what. So at one time, you will be accounting for it. So that element of accountability in professionalism is very high. The other one, the lady said, respect. You respect. Respect the farmers more than the minister. Respect the minister, because what do you need from the minister? The minister is more powerful, wealthy, and what? So if you don't respect him, if he's annoyed, let him go. But the farmer needs your service. The farmer needs your service. And for you to be able to deliver that service, you need to respect the farmer. You need to respect the farmer. The fifth, which sums all that I have talked, is the integrity. Can we declare that the moment Maif creates all the standards, you know, professionalism sometimes can be enforced, and he talked of a word standardized, and then registration and certification, isn't? That certification, that registration, that certification should be just a fulfillment of compliance, should become a norm, should influence your behavior. So I felt I had to summarize that for you. So we have signed an MOU with OFAS for the obvious reason that I have told you, to work closely with NARO, with Maif, to ensure that we bridge that gap of yields between what research is able to generate and what the farmer is able to get now. Through the various tools, which I don't want to repeat, the chairperson and they explained very well the various extension models. So using those models, we are sure that we would be able to transform the society. So the single message my DG told me is that it is not technology alone. It is not advisory services alone, but it is the intersection of the two that can transform the sector. I thank you so much.
I'm going to sound like a song asking for even bigger applause. Thank you so much, Dr. Siddiq, on behalf of Dr. Yona from NARO, for that keynote speak. I think integrity, and I'll leave it at that. I think we've had quite a few speeches, a few, important information. I'd like to ask Joshua, maybe we do a little bit of standing up to shake off. Joshua, if you could go to the end of the room as fast as possible, humanly possible.
I'm there.
Yes. I'd like to select one person.
Okay.
Who has the opportunity to get us to do whatever they want us to do physically. Someone who can do a bit of maybe we stand up, we get down. One person in the group that can, because we talk about extension, extension also talks about the physicality of extension. So someone to mimic that in the audience.
Okay. Any volunteer?
Any volunteers?
Okay.
There we go.
Very good morning. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mark. I'm a broadcaster at Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Happy to be here at the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week. So Extension works as a systemic kind of operation where you move, information and skills to the other person. So we're just going to do something simple at each of our tables, something that we played sometime when we were young. So we're going to whisper. We're going to pick the alpha. Pick an alpha in your team who's going to create a message got to do with extension, agriculture extension, yeah? And perhaps maybe the message should be, what is the biggest gap in Uganda that you think the biggest gap that agriculture extension services face in Uganda that you think needs to be addressed. So that alpha is going to have that issue. You're going to choose that alpha, the person, the first person. So you're going to whisper that message to someone, that solution. Whisper it to someone, that person should whisper it to the other person, that person whispers it to the other person. So at the end of the round, I hope it's okay, at the end of the round, the last person should be able to tell the team on the table what that message was. I hope the time is good enough. What that message was. That goes to show that information flow is also important along the value chain. So.
Thank you so much. I think to manage time, we'll use the rows. One table from each row. We'll do that so that we manage our time. And I'd like to say I'm from the time where we used to call you BCU TV.
BCU.
UTV.
Yeah.
So Joshua, let's select the tables. This table there.
Monica, actually the gap is really interesting and how to address it. If possible, write it on paper. We shall also collect that gap and how it can be addressed. You know, we are good at identifying problems, but now we want the solution. The gap and the solution. How best do you think we can? What's the gap and how can we address it? In 1 minute. Where do I begin? Anyone ready? The gap or the solution? The extension workers already know the gap. Does somebody from Finca know the solution? Any seed company here? Oh,
and in the meantime? Does she have a presentation? She has a presentation.
We are just going to pick like 2 tables and then I'll come and collect the papers much later on. Any extension people? Any table with extension officers from the district sub-county level? This one shouldn't. Here. Where? Which district? What is the gap and what's the solution? This table is still thinking. Okay. Any table that is ready? Just 2 tables. What's the main gap? Like if you had to meet the commissioner, to meet the Minister of Finance that allocate budgets, and you are being asked, what can we do for your sub-county, for your district, so that we close the gap? Not of the farmer extension ratio, but the yield gap to ensure that productivity, climate resilience, and livelihoods are improved for our farmers. Any table that wants to go?
All right. Looks like the tables are shy.
The tables are shy. They are preferring to write here. Solution is to increase the extension worker in the community. Okay. I think, Monica, we can proceed. I'll continue here. The gap is low adoption of technologies and practices. The solution is to address the extension to farmer ratio.
All right. We will also collect those notes that you've written down so that we use them later. But the next segment of the remarks, we're going to have some remarks from our global and continental extension networks. I'd like to invite Dr. Lillian Lihasi, the Executive Director for AFAS, to give us some brief remarks.
Good morning. How are you? You look so great when you stand. Hey, when I stand here, I can see a lot of coloration and beauty, and these are extension service provider. You look excellent. What I always say, we need to position ourselves to this excellence. It's unfortunate to speak after that. You know, you heard what Sadiq said. From his personal experience and the passion that he has for extension and advisory service. And as he spoke, what came clearly to my mind, what motivates me into what I am doing? Am I doing it for the sake of myself, or is it for the passion that I have? As extensionists, once we get there, then agri-food system transformation will no longer be an issue in Africa or in Uganda. It's a great honor to join you at this official opening of the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week 2026, and to bring greetings from AFAS. Habari zenu. Thank you very much. In AFAS, we have Uganda Day, we have English Day, we have Kiswahili Day. So today is the Kiswahili Day. How are you? Okay. Let me first commend UFAS, MAIF, and all the partners for convening this important national platform. As we can all see, it is exemplary done. We all say that Extension Week has grown from an event. We saw what Beatrice was displaying from 2013, where it was just an event, and it has now become a strategic policy and practice space for reflection, for partnership, for building innovation, for exchange and collective action for transforming agri-food system and extension and advisory services in Uganda and thereafter the continent and the globe. This year's theme is both timely and strategic, and we can all agree that it was so well thought of to be a theme that we all need at a time as this. Unlocking Uganda's agricultural potential will not happen through isolated interventions. This has been highlighted with the speakers that came before me. And we all know, and especially those that have interacted with me, no more silos is the key word. We can no longer work in silos. We have to work as a system. And as I always say, and I always refer to, a system is as strong as the weakest part of that system. Therefore, we can no longer work in silos. And that's why NARO and UFAS are coming together to ensure that we are able to deliver to the last mile. And as the keynote speaker spoke, one key issue that was coming to my mind, research has come, extension is here, but there is need to bring in the education. At the continental level, we work as ARIS. ARIS are institutions for research, extension, education. We all work as a team. And I am glad that Uganda is taking up this. And even as UFAS and NARO come together to partner, it will be very critical to bring in the education aspect as we talk about professionalization and as we talk about strengthening our capacity as extension. We realize we are in a place that we need transformation. And for us as extension practitioners also to build our capacity, education become a key aspect. Therefore, I'll encourage NARO, UFAS, even as we engage, bring in education, and therefore we'll talk about a complete aspect. And as we talk about extension, as we talk about research, we are talking about inclusivity, we are talking about bringing in the young people, as he rightly put and other speakers have said, we are talking about the women, we are talking about all those that are involved, the private sector, the public sector, the farmer institutions, and all that are relevant in this. And for us as the continental level, when we get to this place, then we'll realize then we are transforming extension and advisory service to what is expected. I say that extension transformation will only happen through stronger multi-actor collaboration. And it will happen when extension is recognized not as a support function, but as a strategic driver to agriculture transformation. Across Africa, we are seeing a clear shift. Agriculture transformation is no longer driven by production alone. It is increasingly driven by how effectively knowledge, innovation, markets, finance, digital solutions, and institutions come together to support farmers and agri-food actors. And that's what UFAS and NARO are doing now. That's why agriculture extension and advisory service must evolve. Extension today must go beyond technology transfer. This was said. It must facilitate innovation. As extension service providers, we are moving from agent of technology transfer to be facilitators of change processes. Extension must broker partnerships. It must strengthen resilience, and it must support entrepreneurship. It must connect farmers to markets, digital services, climate information, and investment opportunities. As long as we are not connecting farmers to the markets, to investment opportunities, then we find that we'll have a gap. This is the essence of multi-actor extension systems that we are talking about. And this is fully aligned with the continental agenda under the CAADP Kampala Declaration, which places stronger emphasis on delivery systems, institutional coordination, innovation, accountability, which was really emphasized by our keynote speaker, for agri-food system transformation. Uganda is demonstrating leadership in this regard. Well done, Uganda, for starting this partnership. The focus of Extension Week on scalable and market-driven agriculture extension advisory models, high-value chains, climate-smart systems, and professionalizations speaks directly to the priorities needed to modernize extension systems for now and for the future. Allow me to highlight 4 issues I believe are critical and what we are talking about at this time. First, we must invest in extension as a system enabler. We are investing in extension as a system enabler. We are just not looking at extension as transfer of technology, but we are the ones enabling food systems transformation. And therefore we realize we have a role to play, and we come to realize as we sit here, we are the critical part of this food system transformation. Extension should not be treated as a fragmented project activity. Many at the time we are transferring technology, or we are talking about extension because of a project that has been supported. But after the project ends, what next? We should look beyond the project to be able to bring the change that is expected. The life experience has been seen by our keynote speaker. He has gone beyond the funds that he had, just the passion that we have to bring the transformation that we expected. Extension should be positioned as core infrastructure for agriculture transformation. Many times we talk about roads being core infrastructure. We talk about irrigation, we talk about markets. Can you imagine all this, but without extension service delivery? Then we are not able to reach the last mile. We are not able to scale the technologies that are said to be on the shelf. Without strong last mile delivery system, innovations do not scale. Policies do not reach farmers, and investments do not deliver impact. Second, the future of extension is holistic and partnership oriented. This has been overemphasized by the speakers that came before us. No single actor can deliver the completely requirement of agri-food system today. We need to work together. At the continental level, currently we are talking about the Coalition of Agriculture Extension and Advisory Service. This coalition was initiated by AFAS, AGRA, and One Acre Fund as key actors in the extension and advisory service landscape at the continental level. And we are now scaling down to invite other key extension service providers. And we are now going down to the national level. I am proud to say, among the countries that have been able to adopt the Coalition for Extension and Advisory Service is Uganda, who were able to host this last year in December. Kenya and Mali have also been able to follow suit. Therefore, public extension, private extension advisory service, farmer organization, and all the service providers need to work together to ensure we deliver, not as a silo, but we leverage each other's expertise and resources to enhance delivery to the last mile. The future lies in stronger coalition, stronger coordination mechanisms, as has been said, and stronger co-investment models. Which are those models that we can co-invest together to be able to sustainably deliver extension and advisory service? Third, we talk about digitization, and climate resilience must become mainstreamed in extension systems. We have talked about the extension farmer ratio. We cannot do it on our own. We can partner as human beings, but currently we can also leverage the digital tools. Our young people are very good. When you talk about engaging the youth in agriculture extension and advisory service, I know the young people are digital savvy and they are so fast moving. We say they're the microwave generation who wants things instantly. And therefore, leveraging on digital solutions and including the young people will ensure that we are able to adopt delivery models that can be able to scale and reach more than we are talking about. Digital solutions are becoming central on how extension reaches scale, improves targeting, and respond increasingly to complex risks. Many times when you talk about digital advisory service, many of us as extension service provider think that we are losing our jobs. But I always say we are the center of this digital advisory service because we are the ones who own the knowledge, and we are able to be the people that can ensure we are providing knowledge to be disseminated to the last mile. Digital extension service must work simultaneously for smallholder farmers, youth, women, and other undeserved communities. What are those solutions that can be able to reach smallholder farmers? Last week, we were sharing about how UFAS, through another project, have been able to reach farmers through digital solutions. Working together with partners, which has been a critical aspect for UFAS, strengthening partnerships and leveraging what they can leverage and expertise and resources. Working together with Access Agriculture, they have been able to reach smallholder farmers through videos, and there is a change and there's increased adoption because farmers are able to access knowledge through solutions that are comfortable for them. Fourth, we have talked about professionalization. I will not labor much on this because much has been said. But what I'm trying to say, we must encourage each other to ensure that we are able to deliver as expected. My board member talked about much about professionalization, Dr. Patience. Sadiq has talked more about it, and more of it, accountability, integrity, which we always overlook, reliability, respect for one another, that will be able to drive us to where we expect. As AFAS, we believe extension must move from being the last mile to being recognized as the first mile of agriculture transformation. It is the foundational driver that shapes and enables transformation from the very beginning. And therefore, we will refer to it as the first mile. Without the foundation, the house will not stand. And extension is the foundation. Let us all realize that we are the foundation. And once we realize we are the foundation, we will be reliable. We'll strive to be accountable. We'll strive to respect the farmer and respect our bosses. We will strive to ensure that we are delivering as it is expected. Because where extension works, innovation reaches farmers. Where extension works, markets function better. Where extension works, resilience improves. Where extension works, agriculture transformation becomes possible. So why can't we make extension work? We must ensure that extension is working. This is why AFAS remains committed to working with UFAS, MAIF, and all the other partners to advance stronger national agriculture extension and advisory service reforms, professionalization of extension workforce, digital and innovation is enabled, and to ensure that multi-actor platforms for coordinated service delivery are strengthened. There will be greater investment in resilient and market-oriented last-mile delivery. This Extension Week provides an opportunity not only to discuss these issues, but to generate actionable commitments, just as was said by our initial speaker, Beatrice. It is my hope that by the end of this week, we will have had stronger partnerships. We will develop practical recommendations for policy and investment, and also clear pathways for scaling innovation and a stronger communique that advances Uganda's national extension agenda and contributes to continental agriculture extension transformation is developed. Therefore, Uganda has immense agricultural potential, and we are all aware, and we all speak about it. Potential is unlocked through systems that work. Potential is unlocked through partnerships that deliver. Potential is unlocked through institutions that innovate. And potential is unlocked when extension is empowered to play its strategic role. And that's why we are here. And therefore, this week matters to each of us. And we are looking forward to bringing a change that Uganda desires by the end of this week. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Lian Lihasi, for those wonderful remarks. Why doesn't extension work? Why is extension not working in Uganda? Yeah. And how can we go about realizing this potential? Yeah. I think we are all in agreement that there are certain things that have not been, are not done the way they should be. We need to improve on our coordination. We need to improve on, multi-stakeholder partnerships across sectors. We need to improve on our morals as well. Yeah. We need to improve on our accountability mechanisms. We need to challenge ourselves with a legacy. What will people say about you when you retire? Or when you return to your village, the farmer you left there when you were beginning school 10, 20 years ago, has their livelihood improved? Are they still in the grass-thatched house, or they are now in a mabati house? Can your village see the impact of your education? Yeah. You should not retire to the same miserable farmers that were there, when you are going to school. So it's a challenge to all of us, and we all acknowledge that we cannot do it alone. No one institution, no one individual, no one sector can really achieve or bring about the transformation that our country desires. That's why our good government is now moving towards a program approach, and we are currently implementing the agro-industrialization agenda, where we try to see different sectors and different actors really working together. Without saying more words, allow me to invite our next speaker, the Executive Secretary of GFRAS, Dr. Carl Eric Lanson. Please come and make some remarks. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. And I would like to thank you, the organizers, for inviting me to this event. Please allow me to stand on the established protocol by Dr. Miro. There has been a lot of talking from up here. Okay, there have been a lot of talking from up here, and I always try to let me do my speech short, and everybody says I can't be short, so I'll do it brief instead. Can everybody stand up and shake their head, because we have had no coffee break, no tea break, and we are almost falling asleep. I can hear the snoring from the back of the room. Very good, thank you very much indeed. So, what are you doing in your daily work as rural advisors, public extension workers? You are implementing what they are talking about at the UN summit. Don't forget that. Be proud of what you are doing, because all the big people in the world are talking about food system transformation, climate adaptation, and all of this. If that is to happen, it has to happen through behavioral change at the farm. Behavioral change at the farm will only happen because you are doing your job. Nobody with the ties and with these ones are ever going to the farmers, are ever changing. They are making all the jobs that needs to be done, but without your daily work, nothing happens. So I think I would like all the advisors to give themselves a big round of applause. What we can do here at the high table, what we can do at the global level, is to help create the enabling environment for your daily work. That is our task, and we have heard a lot of talk about it, and I can hear the passion from the high table. So I'm very happy to hear that. And we have heard almost all the speakers talking about we can't do things in silos. Then we want to break the silos. We need to ask ourselves, why are people working in silos? Because talking about breaking the silos without understanding why the silos are there will not break the silos. I have been in this business for several decades, and we talked about breaking the silos 20, 30 years ago. The silos are still there. So policymakers look at what are the incentives for doing what people are doing where they are. If you are a researcher, either in NARO or in the university, you are measured on your publications. You are not measured on your impact on farm. So what is your incentive to do it? It's not there. So we have to think about, when government make bills, when government make plans, how do we put in mechanisms that encourage people to collaborate? Because we are all opportunistic. If somebody tells us to do something, and we are told every day how to drive in traffic, are any of us following the law? No. Why? Because we wouldn't get anywhere if we followed the law, right? So we are optimistic. We are doing what makes sense for us. If it makes sense for us to work in a silo and stay in the silo, we keep in the silo, regardless what everybody is saying. So that is a very important point. It is not enough to tell people to do different. You have to encourage people to do things different. What I have seen that the people in Uganda is doing, I have seen two very, very simple, good innovations in extension. One of them is to start, before you work with the farmers, sit down with the farmer family and ask them, what is your aspiration? Where do you want to be 5, 10 years from now? Why are you in farming? What do you want to get out of farming? If you start there, you understand what the desire, demand, aspiration of the farmer is. And if all your advice are centered around that, then you have a dialogue. Then the farmer is interested. Then the farmer wants to learn. But if you just come and tell what you have been taught to tell, then the farmer might not listen to you. If I'm trying to tell, I don't know if, but if I'm trying to tell Dr. Miro to stop smoking and he never smoked, why is it interesting for him? He won't pay attention. Even if I have been trained and have a big program in anti-smoking, how to stop smoking, he will be bored when I'm talking. He might be polite and say, oh, yes, very interesting. And as soon as I go away, he will say, that was completely irrelevant for me. So start with understanding what is actually the need of the farmer. Number one. The second one, extension officers and advisors very often work in isolation. So create what we call peer learning team. Let them talk together, work together, and experience together. It doesn't cost money, but it makes it more interesting to work because you reflect on what you have done, what the farmer said, how you interacted with the farmers, and you learn from your peers instead of learning from your superiors. So by listening to farmers, you address the farmers' need. By working with the peers, you get inspired. These are two simple, no-cost additions I would really recommend you to take in. When we talk about farmer extension offer ratio, we always said it's very bad. But very often, if you go and ask in a country, they would only count the public extension service. They do not take the farmer organizations advisors, the NGO advisors, the religious-based advisors, or the private sector. So when you measure farmer advisor ratio, you have to look at the whole pluralistic landscape. Otherwise, you get a very distorted picture. And I think we were hearing about a new bill from government. I don't think in any countries that we will go back to the monolithic situation where government did extension because the resources are not there. So I'm very happy to hear that you have embraced in Uganda the pluralistic system. But you also have to it's one thing is to embrace it, but when you make your legislation, create an enabling environment for all the other players and understand what is it that makes them collaborate. What is the incentive for them? What is the incentive for the private sector to come today? What is the incentive for the NGOs to be into this space? What is the incentive for MAIF and the public system? As the more you understand this, the more you can design your policies and programs. And for me, the problem is not that we don't know what to do. The problem is that we don't do what we know we should be doing. And we have to understand why are we not doing that? What are the limiting factors? When you look at farmers, knowledge is not enough. I will come back to what you were talking about, Dr. Lihase. Knowledge is not enough. If the farmer doesn't have any financial means or any resources to act on the knowledge, what is the knowledge worth? Nothing. If the farmer have access to knowledge and some financial resources, but wants to go to market and there's no market. So it's a lot about access to different things. And I think, again, coming back to the digital tools, one of the things that we have seen that digital tools can do is that they can bundle all these things. So when you come as an extension worker with your phone and with your app of a digital tool, you can reach finance, you can reach market access, you can reach weather reports, you can reach input suppliers. So you become a one-stop shop that somebody was talking about as an extension worker by having this mobile tool. And also what we have seen globally in digitalization of extension, this is not, the public sector is not the best ones to do this, sorry to say. I mean, we have seen in country that they put up a health phone. When does the health phone work? 8 to 4 every day, not in weekends. When do farmers have problem? 24/7. So therefore, what we see is that in the initial phase of establishing it, the public sector is important, but when you come to commercialize and running it, it has to be the private sector who takes the lead. So you should go into public-private partnerships when you do digitalization, and each of the players has a distinct role in that partnership. We need to go to the global level and say extension works. What we miss is resource allocation. We can't do, they keep talking about impact at scale. There will be no impact at scale without the advisory service. And there will be no impact at scale if the advisory service, together with all the other stakeholders in what we call agricultural knowledge and innovation system, doesn't break down the silos. But people inside the silos can't break them alone. They need to work with government and finding incentive systems that actually fosters collaboration. Then we can move forward. I think that is my words for today. Thank you very much indeed.
Right. A round of applause for him again. I would like to invite Dr. Miro. But before that, you know, these chairs look comfortable, eh? Chairs look really comfortable. Maybe the presenters could come and maybe, you know, sit here. All right, it's okay. I'd like to invite our guest of honor, to invite you, Dr. Miro, to come and invite our guest of honor.
Thank you so much. Let's give it a appreciation for the facilitators, please. And before I invite someone to invite the guest of honor, sincere apologies. Coffee is up there, tea is up there, but somehow we thought you'd have it before we start. So please bear with us. If you're really fainting, walk slowly up there, pick a cup of coffee or tea. But otherwise, let's stay together just briefly. It's now my honor to invite someone to invite our guest of honor. Please, Dr. Patience, you're the most senior here. Come and invite our guest of honor to come and address us. Can we all stand, please, as we receive our guest of honor? Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Mine is a very simple obligation, and it is my honor and pleasure to invite Dr. Henry Nakele Topolot, the Commissioner for Agriculture Extension and Skills Management, who is representing the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, to come and deliver his address. Dr. Nakele, you are welcome.
Please be seated. Learning never stops. And today I'm learning to be a minister. Certainly, colleagues, you all know I'm not Honorable Tumwewaze. My name has been mentioned, but for today, I'm standing on his feet. And he had loved very much to be here, but he had to go to cabinet. Today, we're having a paper in cabinet on establishing the Food and Agricultural Regulatory Authority. So the minister has to be there today to present that, so he couldn't be here. And together with the permanent secretary. So today I have to speak like the minister. The only challenge that I will have many limitations. I will not be, I have to speak, I'll try to speak my mind, but only to a certain extent. Because there will be that collective decision that I have to abide by. The Executive Director, the Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services, Dr. Carl, was just spoken here. You tried to make our speeches shorter, but unfortunately we're again reverting to our long ones. The DG NARO, represented by Dr. Kasim, the Executive Director of the AFAS, the leadership of UFAS, development partners here present, the ministry senior staff, and the district production officers present, all the extension professionals here present, representatives of farm organizations, private sector and academia, as well as civil society, the media, the youth and women innovators, all you participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure for me to join you this morning to officially open the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week 2026 on behalf of the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. I wish to thank the Uganda Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services for organizing and convening this important national forum, and for the continued leadership in professionalizing, coordinating, and giving a voice to Uganda's extension and advisory services community. Before I even continue, I would like to request my colleagues from the public sector, ministry, NARO, the districts, please stand up for recognition. Thank you so very much for coming. And those ladies and gentlemen certainly do a great job. Just like you heard DG Naro speak here. People do a great job, but oftentimes due to certain limitations, they are hardly appreciated. And also, many times we are very mean on publicity. We do a lot, but we're not very good at talking. But we want to thank you because you certainly sustain the farmers' livelihoods out there. This year's Agriculture Extension Week is themed Unlocking Uganda's Agriculture Potential. Multi-act agriculture extension and advisory services for resilient, digital, and market-oriented food systems. The theme is both timely and intentional and reflects where Uganda is coming from, where we are today, and most importantly, where we are going as a country. As we all know, Uganda has no shortage of good policies, strategies, and investment concepts in agriculture. What makes a difference between success and frustration is how quickly and how well these policies and strategies reach the farmer in the form of applicable technologies, innovations, and management practices. And as we earlier heard, the bridge between policy, science, markets, and farmers is called extension and advisory services. Under the National Agriculture Extension Policy and Strategy, the government of Uganda committed to a single spine pluralistic extension system, one that brings together public extension workers, private sector actors, NGOs and farm organizations, as well as academia, and a shared framework, clear standards, and strong coordination. This was not accidental. It was a recognition that no single actor can transform agriculture alone. As we are today, of course, how well we have performed in that line, your guess is as good as mine. UFAS has over time attempted hard to play a critical role in making that vision real by championing collaboration, among extension and advisory service providers across the country. As we should be aware, Uganda's development ambition, as articulated in Vision 2040 and the successive national development plans, is clear. We must move our agriculture from peasantry to commercial status and making it market-oriented with a competitive agro-industry. But again, agro-industrialization does not begin in factories or hotels or lecture theaters. It begins in fields, homesteads, fisheries landing sites, and grazing areas. It begins with the farmers who understand quality, standards, aggregation, post-harvest handling, value addition, and markets. And with a clear understanding that the market needs three things: quantity, quality, and consistency. There, then agriculture becomes a business. For that reason, extension today must go beyond telling farmers how to produce more. It must support them to produce for markets, for processors, for exporters, and for resilience. Extension workers link farmers to inputs, finance, insurance, processors, cooperatives, as well as digital platforms. Friends, climate change is no longer an abstract conversation. Farmers are experiencing it every season. The National Adaptation Plan for Agriculture sector is equally clear that Uganda's resilience depends on knowledge reaching farmers quickly, accurately, and consistently. Extension workers are therefore our frontline climate adaptation agents, supporting climate-smart agriculture, early warning systems, sustainable land and water management, and risk reduction. It's been said earlier, when extension is weak, farmers gamble. When extension is strong, farmers plan. And we certainly have to take this very seriously. I was seeing a clip on YouTube yesterday, somebody saying, the problem today, very many people are doing agriculture successfully on social media. Everybody is TikToking, how they are making a lot of money, how people can get a lot of milk on social media. But he said, come on the ground, and you will not find that person who is talking on the ground. So this forum is an opportunity to reflect honestly on whether our advisory systems are sufficiently climate-informed, data-driven, impactful, and inclusive, especially for the majority smallholder farmers, women, youth, and the vulnerable communities. One of the most exciting developments in extension today, as has been highlighted, is digital innovation. Across Uganda, we see young people using mobile platforms, geospatial tools, digital marketplaces, and farmer apps to reach thousands of producers faster than ever before. Certainly as government, we do not see digital extension as a replacement for human interaction, but as a powerful complement. I always give some comparison between some two countries, Uganda and Ethiopia. As Carl said, true, we may not have enough money to get all the people we want like it was before. We're told Ethiopia and Uganda, some IMF studies show that yes, there is a challenge with extension. And the problem is that there are not enough staff to teach the farmers. And they had two recommendations that, you need now to use private extension workers and digital tools. and Uganda took that advice. Ethiopia took their own recommendation. If it's an issue of people, let's recruit people and deploy them. And today, we are all going to benchmark how Ethiopia's agriculture is doing well. The digital tools are okay, but a certain critical amount of human resource must be on the ground. And as a country, that is what we'll be working towards, ensuring that we have a number of people for the minimum structure that has been put in place. Because certainly the numbers of one extension worker to 2,000 households, it's just not possible to continue working that we are doing anything. Allow me to be very clear. Government is investing in extension and advisory services, both directly and indirectly through the many programs and projects nationally and externally supported. We have tried to give the extension grant. We have the parish development model. Now there is a Uganda Climate Smart Agricultural Transformation Project, for which I think tomorrow, yes, tomorrow we should be giving 69 districts vehicles and motorcycles to do a project work that's trying to support extension workers. We have the National Oil Seeds Project, the National Oil, Palm Oil Project, the many mechanization, water for agriculture, production investments, among others, as public investments. However, as said already, financing alone is not enough. Resources must align to standards, professional ethics, and measurable results. And I know here we've talked about the kind of results we want, but as a country, we all know there's a strategic direction ingrained in our National Development Plan 4 now, wherein we have the agro-industrialization program. And in that program, there are only seven high-level results that we're expected to achieve in the 5 years of this plan. There are only 7. And if you may allow, I know all of us, I surely suppose all of us should be having that document. The Ugandan people, Ugandan-based people here should be having the NDP4. And those 7 high-level program results are: 1, just to read verbatim, increased agriculture sector growth rate from 5.14% in financial year 23-24 to 8%. Increased export value of priority commodities and their processed products from United States dollars 2.5 million in the same base year to USD 4.8 million. Reduced import value of agro-based products from USD 1,096 million in financial year 23-24 to USD 600 million. Increased yield of priority agricultural commodities by 50%. At least 60,000 jobs created by agro-processing industries or factories annually. Increased the food and nutrition security from 71% to 85%. Increased the share of agricultural financing to total financing from 11.3% to 15%. Just those 7 is what the country expects to achieve. And therefore, as we are measuring the results of whatever we do with our projects, programs, at the end of every year, how much are we contributing to achievement of the national objectives? It is very key. And it is really what I expected of us, that every time we surely meet here, we should be weighing ourselves against those indicators. And I hope next year it will be so. Over the coming days, you will engage in policy dialogues, technical sessions, exhibitions, field-tested innovations, youth and agribusiness discussions, and reflection on digital and climate-smart extension approaches. I do expect this week to produce practical recommendations, therefore, not only for government. Many times when we gather, we want to make recommendations for government. And when we say extension is weak, everybody is saying, what is government doing? But when we gather here, we're all saying we are doing extension. So we not only make recommendations for government, but for all actors in extension that we surely say we are to implement. By the end of this week, we should be clear on how to strengthen coordination in truly a pluralistic system, how to professionalize and support extension workers. Keep in mind, colleagues, many of us are not extension workers, but rather managers. And we are administrators, we are coordinators, we are supporters of extension work. The extension workers are really those people down in the field who are interacting with the farmer, whom we want to see they are supported to deliver their work. 3, we need to see how to make our advisory services market relevant and climate responsive, and how to better include women and youth as leaders, not just as beneficiaries. On our part, in the public extension system, we are so much alive to the challenge of inadequate numbers that I've mentioned, the transport challenges and operational logistics. But this government keeps addressing slowly as and where the budget allows. But there is a lot more required to make agriculture extension more responsive to stakeholder needs that we must all pay attention to. We heard earlier speakers already talking. The quality of training in universities and colleges. We all have to accept and look back and say, is it up to what is obtaining today? Do we have enough practical training facilities? Or when we have a challenge, the only recommendation we have is let's develop another course or a course unit. The adequacy of training during field attachments, and this is the role of industry in training. And I think Dr. Patience alluded to what the ministry is trying to do with Mountains of the Moon. So far, I think in many universities in Uganda that are offering agriculture, the training is still almost 70 or 80, 20, 80 classwork, 20 or less field work. But even field work, just go and observe things and come back to class and report about what you observe. And I think we all have to live to this reality and say we need to change things, but also having proper training places for students. I always talk with my lecturer. Dr. Miro is my lecturer right from undergraduate, master's to PhD. But today we sometimes have some face-offs. Yeah. We really have some face-offs and say, no, everything is not right. We have to agree that something needs to be done. And it is a healthy interaction. But many times, students are set out to go for attachment. All we do is give them letters to whom it may concern. And they go, they are to find where to train from. Surely, the skills acquired from to whom it may concern, are they going to be useful? So we need to see that, and the private sector, the industry comes on board to be participants in building skills for the agro-industry. The issue of reskilling and refresher training opportunities for people in service. Imagine a person who has come out of university not well prepared and also goes and is deployed, given no additional training. Really, are we going to judge them rightly for if we say they're not working well? Again, it is all our responsibility to ensure these people get further exposure. Science evolves, so there should be reskilling, retraining for them to keep up the competence with the market or with the needs of the agriculture sector. The status of research extension farmer linkage. Dr. Kasim talked here. it's broken. And again, we have to go back. We have to all accept to rebuild it, because otherwise research is doing a lot, but it's not moving to the farmer, because the wheels that are extension are worn out. And if they move so slowly. So we have to bring back that linkage strongly for us to be able to deliver these technologies to the farmer. We have the Zone Agriculture Research Development Institutes. We are the DFIs. Now there is some semblance of team there, the district adaptive research support teams. We need to see all this work effectively if we are to reach the farmer. Because eventually how we are measured to succeed is not how we talk, how we spend money, or how we account for the money, but how the farmer is transformed. That should be our accountability at the end of it. Standardized information, communication, education materials and practices. Again, this is the challenge. We are many. We are pluralistic, but everybody with their own way of doing things, yet working with the same farmers. At the end of the day, the farmer remains confused, does not know whom to follow. And we need to be able to ensure that we are all communicating the same language to the farmer. Alignment to national strategic direction, I've mentioned. What does the country want? If they say for the central Uganda, we need to promote coffee, banana, dairy, and then you come and say, no, let's grow more apples. Certainly you are distorting the national vision. And sometimes people come like that, come with a lot more money and divert the farmer. So you weaken the national effort. So we need to be aligned to that strategic direction. They've talked about professionalism. Friends, maybe because in Uganda agriculture is still about 80% people in agriculture peasants that do not apply science in doing their farming. And sometimes we have found everybody and anybody calling him or herself an extension worker. And everybody. And so just recently, not even long ago, I think there was an advert from one organization in one part of this country, and is advertising for extension workers to implement a certain project at the parish and sub-county levels. And one of the qualifications for those extension workers is social sciences. Really. And you will say there's a professional there. It is certainly difficult, and these things are very common. And I think having the right qualifications, qualified people with the right extension skills, with a good ethical conduct is critical if we are to deliver extension and to make it responsive and to have quality assurance and regulations. As I conclude, I speak direct to different groups present here. To our extension professionals, you are aware you are the backbone of agricultural transformation. Please continue to learn. It is also in agricultural profession where we forget to read the moment we finish university. And when we read different things. We now want to read political science, we want to read public administration, we forget the agriculture. At the end of the day, some other people are speaking about agriculture in a better way than we, the professionals. Please continue to learn, collaborate, and uphold professional standards. To the local governments, extension is not an add-on, it is central to parish, district, and regional development. Yes, we are few. Yes, you are few. Now I stand up as a minister. But you see that I'm so deep into extension that I forget. Yes, you're few. The facilitation may be low, but let's show results from that little. So we make a stronger argument for more. To UFAS and all extension actors here present, We just have to keep in mind the voices in the public are very loud for all of us to hear. Extension services to the farmers are inadequate to cause the required transformation. Yet we are very many. We need to know why the gap. We need to know why the gap, and not only always celebrate networks, growing networks. We should be seeing the impact on the ground, seen by what people are producing and how their livelihoods are changing. Development partners and the private sector invest beyond projects, but sustainable systems. And of course, whether private extension or public extension, which way, again, I want us to remind ourselves that for the case of Uganda, where majority farmers, largely smallholder and peasant, we still need a public service extension. It's still very critical. Just like we have UPE in education, USE, you have the primary health care, we still need this extension to be effective to transform these poor people to the extent that they can now pay for extension services with the time. And to our farmers, women, and youth, this transformation must ultimately serve you, your livelihoods, your dignity, and your future. What we are calling for is social transformation. And again, the private sector, sometimes people mix that civil society is private sector or NGOs are private sector. I don't agree. We are all called civil servants. We are all working for a salary. The private sector, people who are working to make money, to make profit and pay taxes. So the people who can think in the private sector in agriculture, people who are producing inputs, the farmers themselves who are commercialized, the commercial farmers, and those are the private sector. But the commercial farmers, I surely say, let's also move into employing professionals. It is very common to see the commercial farmers for livestock employing herdsmen instead of employing animal husbandry or livestock professionals. And for the crop farmers employing gardeners instead of some agriculture officer or assistant agriculture officer. Those are now the private extension. Those people employed in private farms are the private extension. Let's employ them, professionals, because agriculture is a science. In light of all the above, the ministry is still in pursuit of an effective extension strategy. In addition, as mentioned earlier, we need to push to institute an agriculture extension law or regulation. We need a system that works for the farmer, not for implementers, state or non-state. It is long overdue, but sooner than later, you'll all be invited to participate in this critical process. And hopefully within this year, we should be convening again to give our input into this review process, to develop a new strategy and putting in place a bill, a National Agriculture Extension Bill, so that we have a streamlined and regulated working space with the clear roles and responsibilities for all parties. Ladies and gentlemen, with those very many words, I thank you for listening, and I take the honor as a minister to declare the Uganda National Agriculture Extension Week 2026 officially open. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Standing ovation, I think well deserved. Again, my name is Monica Basemera, and I'm facilitating alongside Joshua and Elizabeth. I'd also like to confirm that of the people in this room, 50% are direct extension workers working at the front line. Just for that. And I also like to commend the person that slipped me a joke because I said I didn't have sufficient jokes for the day. So keep it up. I'll read it later. The next session, we're going to have a photo session. I would like to invite, come and take ownership of your segment. So he will direct us. We're going to do it outside. And then after that, we'll have coffees for those that have not yet had anything. We're going upstairs. And again, the places of convenience are down that right corner. Yes. So let's go outside, take the group photo. And as you go, I would like to read, because I know you can talk and listen at the same time. This is apparently a joke from an agroecologist. While all other creatures strive to feed on organic and health food, it is only the humans who first poison their food through spraying it, are comfortable eating it even when cautioned by medical experts. So keep those jokes coming, just slip them at that table. Let's do this for 10 minutes. So we'll have everyone out. Oh my, everyone has gone for tea. We're going to have tea. So let's have, we do it up here? To call it. Board members, UFAS, chief guest, Dr. Sadiq, Dr. Patience. We're going to have the picture at the podium let's have it here now, yeah. The group one. Board, UFAS, Dr. Miro. Yes. I wanted you guys to sit, but everything is happening in such a yes. How are you? Nice to see you again. Dr. Sadiq, this way. We're going to take the paper this way now, yes. Since we have a smaller number, the bigger section is up there. So we can take the vote for now. I believe the way. Yes. We want to go there. We're excited to meet each other. Well, where are we? Hello, hello to the board. Dr. Miro, board chair, lead the way. Dr. Beatrice. Dr. Beatrice, you want to have it down? You sure? All right. Apparently. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister over there. Photographer is there. So it doesn't make Do we have everyone from the board? Beatrice, is everyone supposed to be here? Jeffress. Jeffress. Beatrice, everyone supposed to be here. You hold the board guys. I can go. Dr. Mpira, Dr. Kasamba, Dr. Carl, where's Dr. Irene? Dr. Irene? She's out? Outside or out? Okay, there you go. Dr. Carl? Dr. Carl? Pelam? Rosamita? So we're going to have a tea, and Elizabeth is going to lead us upstairs. Ah, yes.
we're not doing politics this time. All the trouble. I don't do that. Oh, so good to be here. Okay, good. Well, I invite you. I personally invite you to my invitation doesn't mean anything, but yes. So our company, the International Adult Living Indigenous Agency, we provide assistance for adults, provide Uganda is what you're providing for the South Farmers Agriculture Program. And we have developed a market intelligence for tracking market prices. To be able to know when and where to place our produce. We have also developed a dictionary for the National Ministry of Agriculture to be able to have a right now we're starting to work with the market. But it's one of the companies I think as well, we've got to find a partner. So that's what I am trying to set up next week if we're no longer on. You have been seeing my email. I'm the annoying person behind the email. You thought the emails were bad. Just wait till. Oh, did I know that this was the first one? Well, I'm going to blame my assistant for that. Wait, that's just me.
Hello, everyone. Now that we're all settled and back, Marty's, could we go outside for the group picture? DJ, let's put the sound a little bit. At the top, you're invited outside for the group picture.